Welcome to This Week in Crazy America with me, Reese Hancock. This week we have the nursing home attacker finally facing justice, a manhunt in the Poconos, a Tinder tragedy in Utah, and a duck rescue in Massachusetts. Now, before we get into the stories, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button below and sign up for these weekly updates and the other videos and stories that we push out throughout the week, keeping you informed of the craziest stories from across America. Now, without any further ado, let's get straight into the stories. So this week we saw a major development in a story that shocked the whole of America, the story of a young 20-year-old guy who somehow found himself in a nursing home. And this was a sick story, really, the story of a 20-year-old youngster who battered, senseless, an old man in this Detroit nursing home. The old man was really defenseless. But the reason we know about this is because the suspect, a gentleman named Jaden T. Hayden, the young attacker, posted the video of himself hitting this guy repeatedly. He posted that on social media as though he was proud of it. And that obviously brought the story to national attention. And immediately everyone leapt to the conclusion that Hayden was a care home worker. And this was another symptom of the sick system of care home workers neglecting residents. But it turned out Hayden was actually a resident. He was a patient at the nursing home. Somehow, after having been infected with COVID-19, he was shuffled off into this nursing home to share a room with an elderly man. A really crazy story. And it's one that really has shocked a lot of people across the country. Now he will face multiple assault charges, as well as charges for theft, because he took credit cards from the poor old man that he beat up. So he's going to get what's coming to him. Meanwhile, in Pennsylvania's Pocono Mountains, the FBI and the two state police forces combined in a desperate effort this week to find suspected murderer Peter Manfredonia. Now, you may recall that Manfredonia is this nutcase from University of Connecticut who allegedly killed two people, one of them an older gentleman and one of them a young man that was a former friend of Manfredonia. Now, they say that this guy, Manfredonia, had severe mental health problems. But as they always say in these cases, no one ever thought he could become violent. No one ever thought he could flip, of course, he did. And then he killed these poor two folks, and he disappeared out of Connecticut into New Jersey, then apparently into Pennsylvania. So in the middle of the week, the FBI and the state police threw everything they had at this manhunt in the Pocono Mountains, but they just couldn't find him. And then nearly a week into this process of trying to find this guy, as is often the case in these hunts, he turned up somewhere unexpected down in Maryland in the town of Hagerstown, and he was arrested without incident. Thank God for that, and thank God this man is finally in custody. So in Arizona, meanwhile, someone up there was definitely looking out for Ian Foxworthy and his girlfriend. They should go and buy lots of lottery tickets this weekend. The sleeping couple were woken up in the middle of the night by a very loud noise. And as we all would be, they were very disoriented. They wondered what had happened. It was like a blast very close to them. Upon closer inspection, they saw that a stray bullet had gone right through the headboard of their bed. And as you can see from the photo, it was just above their pillows. So it must have passed right over their heads. Talk about a close shave. There's a couple of bits of advice for Mr. Foxworthy. Number one, get that lottery ticket. Get hundreds of lottery tickets. You're a very lucky man. Number two, probably time to move to a more tranquil neighborhood, I would think. So we've all had that urge to binge on unhealthy food in the middle of the night. Let's face it, usually it happens after we've had a few beers. Well, this week, one gentleman in California found an unusual way to heat up his junk food of choice. He busted into a Wells Fargo branch in the wee hours. And this was odd because normally people, of course, break into banks to try and take large quantities of money whether they do it in the middle of the night or not. But this guy, he wasn't interested in any money. Honest, he just busted in there to use the microwave to heat up his hot pockets, and he didn't give the police any trouble when they came to pick him up. So, as we say often here at Crazy America, sometimes you really can't make this stuff up. Well, when it comes to online dating, it's certainly fair to say there is a degree of uncertainty in doing it, right? You never know what you're going to get, I guess. You might see that lovely hottie with a big chest and slim waist and lovely long legs on the Tinder screen. But then when you turn up, it's 10-ton Tessa. And I'm not just singling out the women. Equally, the same is true of the guys. You know, you have the guy who claims all those postgraduate qualifications and writes messages with a flair of Shakespeare, only to turn up as a monosyllabic psychopath. I'm sure many women have experienced that horrible situation. Fortunately, not all of those Tinder dates and dates from other online apps go as badly as one that involved Utah psycho Ethan Hunsaker this week. Tragically, Hunsaker used Tinder to set up a date with a woman that he literally did go crazy over. In fact, so crazy over that he went on to kill her. Horrible case. Then, as soon as he did the deed, he called 911 to confess, and he asked officers to come and shoot him when they arrived at his house. But obviously, the police didn't do that this time, and he's now in custody. So finally, on a far more cheerful note, our hero of this week is Massachusetts State Trooper Jim Maloney. The very caring officer rescued a group of 8 tiny ducklings that had fallen down a storm drain. And you know what the sweetest part of the story was? Mother Duck, with that very strong instinct, she'd waited very patiently in some nearby grass, never knowing, I guess, whether she would see the kids again. She just knew they'd fallen down somewhere near where she was, but she waited there, and Maloney's good deed meant that mom and kids were eventually reunited. How sweet is that? How heartwarming. Well, it's beautiful. And on that note, that's all we have time for this week, folks. But one more time, please remember to hit the subscribe button below and sign up for our weekly updates and all the other stuff that we post through the week. Stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.
Well, we used to